Okay, so the wind is quite good out here, but we've got a different thing happening, which is when you get wind in one direction, so wind is coming from there, and you get the tide from another direction. So tide is coming out from there. So what you get is something called wind over tide, which creates short, steep waves. So you see I've reduced sail, blah, 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 and my arm is submerged nicely, but we're powering along and I'm happy with this point of sail. But to demonstrate wind over tide, we're just going to tack over to the deeper water where the current is stronger. You'll have a look at the waves. The waves are sort of square and steep. It's because the motion of the water is moving against the wind direction. So the wind direction is is coming in, and the water is wanting to move out. And that creates, in some cases, you know, a dangerous condition. Not here, because it's only maybe, oh, I don't know, probably 4 meters deep, something like that, or 5 meters, 20 feet, maybe 25 feet. So you can see the little white caps. That's the wind pushing against the tide as it's coming out. As we come into this area, you know, it's a lot choppier. The waves are a little bit steeper and a little bit square, like as we kind of keep this buoy, we'll try not to run into it. And that's just the tide moving against the wind. So in many situations, when you're crossing bars or entering against a bay where there's a bar or a river, you'll have these conditions. Or maybe it could be an inlet or a passage between a couple islands or something like that. You have to be aware of that, because it can create very, very challenging conditions for you, or depending on your boat. So we'll just tack and go back into that, because well, in this case it's quite a lot of fun. So heading downwind, quite easy really, but one thing you have to be aware of is the strength of the wind. It's very easy to get lulled into a sense of security or complacency by having too much sail up and you head downwind. You can see all that chop in there. That's the tide really moving out. So we're going to head downwind, so we point away from the wind, and as we do that, we let out the sail. The boat sort of comes, all the action that we were just experiencing kind of disappears, boat settles down, and you can decide for yourself whether you want to let out all the sail. If you let out all the sail, just be mindful that if you turn back towards the wind, you've got all that wind that seems like it's disappeared, but you do have that wind that will power up your boat. So, you know, that would be the difference between true wind and apparent wind. So the true wind is still, let's say, 15 knots. We're probably moving 6 or 7 knots downwind. So what the effect of the breeze that I'm feeling is, you know, 5 or 6 knots. It doesn't feel like much, but we're cruising, and I'm gonna open up the sail. So I just go to the furler, unpop it. That's all I've got. This will be perfect for a spinnaker, which will probably be the next thing I'll pick up. And here we go, downwind. And I'm soaked, really. This is the one thing about these little kayaks, is you will get wet. And so I'm soaked. We are just moving beautifully.